I worked on that. We did all of that train stuff with the atomic gun and the concussions and everything up on his roof. So it was a very small scale, but it worked. But we did it on the roof so we could shoot without a horizon. We shoot up in the sky. We did everything up on the roof of a building to make it work. We were up there for weeks, but yeah, yep, that was fun. But we didn't. It wasn't like Space Hunter or Star Trek, where a great part of the movie was miniatures. It was just bits and pieces of that. We also did the atomic blast. You see that it was done with air cannons, Joe Viscoso. Funny because we were right next to the freeway. You can't canvass an area like the freeway and let people know what's going on. And Joe Viscoso did that, and we did the explosion out in the street and shot it from the roof. Just to get that mushroom cloud.
I worked out how to make a mushroom cloud in that for that shot at the wide shot, and that was a forced perspective, on all in camera. There's no opticals in that. It was shot on our roof in Burbank. Backyard set, a 6-scale house, chimney, fence, and then an air cannon set up where you couldn't see it. And then about 4 feet from there was 72nd scale, 6 scale here, 72nd scale skyline, which meant it was HO buildings and stuff, all done for a skyline. But between that and in that 3 feet was a scrim, stretched scrim, a lavender scrim. I stretched it in between that. And then 250 feet away across the street, I had a scissor lift that went up, and then a steel mortar about so big around I welded and made some chambers at the bottom to have put like 3 bombs in it, and had done a few tests with, I think it was Viscoso too. Joe, sometimes Joe, it's like, no, that won't work. And joke. Let's test and we'll find out. I think it will. And so we tested and it did, and work, that is. So the first bomb is a kind of a average wrap on the size, and it was like I don't know, was it like a 2 ounce or something? And then I forget how much gas, but a certain amount of gas. And this bomb would go off, and you get this fireball starting to come up. Well, let me go back up a little. Around the base of this, fast flash. So the fast flash would go off, and then like 100th or 200th of a second later, this first bomb would go off. So the fast flash, and a lot of it, this is outdoors, daytime, towards magic hour when we shot this, towards sunset. Even then, the fast flash, and it's 250 feet away, whites the frame out for about 1 or 2 frames. In 3 frames, it dims. So it's in camera, the nuclear flash, gets you. And then this fireball starts up. And then the second bomb in this thing because I had these chambers in this. Second bomb that is tighter wrapped, which means it's going to be faster. Plus, it was like 4 ounces. Now, you don't quote me on the amounts. I'm giving you a proportion here that it's a long time ago. But it's faster and more oomph. And it shoots up through the center of this, and it helps maintain a column, too, because that's one thing about nuclear bombs. You start to get this mushroom cloud that curls around, and it remains attached. Whereas if you just may have one explosion, this thing goes up, and it may start to mushroom a little, but then it lets go of the base. And this, again, is only a couple hundredths of seconds later. Maybe it's two hundredths of a second later. So it doesn't appear like it's a second explosion, even though it is. It maintains a column, and it pushes up faster through this rising crowd and makes it grow bigger, but move faster, so the edges, which are going slower, start to curl around. So it mimics what nuclear things do. And then a third one that's 6 ounces or whatever, and more gas goes go-wump up through the middle of that, and so the column's maintained, and it's pushing it up and it's growing bigger and curling around, and it looks like a nuclear bomb, like a tactical nuclear bomb. And it was all in camera. So then I did the timing about how far away, did the math on where, this was supposed to be going off right behind the skyline, a couple of blocks behind it. And I did the distance, how far away. So what is the shock wave going to hit this foreground building that we're looking across, this backyard residential? And I did the numbers, and it was like 7 seconds. And I go, that's too long. That's way too long. You're not going to wait here for 7 seconds. I said, what's the, and I think I ended up making it last like 4.5 seconds. And then this thing shakes and some bricks fall off. There's a concussion right there in the foreground. That was air cannons doing that on the model in the foreground. So it's all in camera, no post-production work on it all. And the reason is, not that we couldn't have done things, no money for it. This was Dan O'Bannon. What a strange duck that Dan was. I mean, he's a sweet guy. I liked him, but I'm using that term, strange duck. He really was. We did like 3 or 4 optical shots that required opticals in those 10 we did. And that had to do with the crappy stuff they were burning in the deal that went up into the sky that caused the whatever, I forget, but really I haven't watched that movie in a long time.